and create in the sun, trying to get them dry, and whatever clothing material you could have secured. They've been trying to go to the rivers and wash them and put them up, or water collected from the rain. So people are on the move, clearing the streets to create vehicular access and, to their homes and to public buildings. Many people are in shelters. Some are with neighbors whose homes will have, a few homes that will have survived. But there are many who do not know where to sleep at night. Yeah, that situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the most immediate need now, Prime Minister, in terms of the relief effort?
We need a lot of tarpaulins and supplies.
It's a difficult, it's really an extraordinarily difficult moment for Prime Minister Skeritt, who, as he said, has given us the opportunity to share his story with the world. And the Nature Isle has been an extraordinarily resilient country. You would have heard yesterday from Hartley Henry, the Prime Minister's principal advisor, telling ABS how difficult it is, and obviously it has been an extraordinarily difficult moment for the Prime Minister.
Water for the people, food supplies, tarpaulins, some blankets, urgently. Yeah.
Prime Minister, and our viewers on TV and online would understand that we are taking a moment for the Prime Minister to collect himself again, because, as I said, just telling the story is an extraordinarily difficult thing for the Prime Minister. In terms of the countries who have assisted, talk to me about the number of countries. Certainly Antigua and Barbuda participated.
Well, you know, a lot of the countries have responded in the OECS and CARICOM. Every single country has responded. The French, the British. I'm supposed to speak to Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada at 2 o'clock today. The Moroccan government, the Venezuelan government, the Cubans, Martinique and French Guiana, Guadeloupe. I mean, many countries are pouring in various organizations.
Yes.
You know, Antigua and Barbuda has been very helpful. The Prime Minister has been providing great assistance. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Prime Minister of Grenada in their respective roles as OECS and CARICOM chairman. So the world is mobilizing to assist us. We're going to need a lot of helicopter services,
Yes.
to airlift the supplies to the respective communities. So if anybody's listening to me, helicopter services are going to be critical to get the supplies to people in large quantities, so that we can minimize the misery and the suffering, and also the fact that they really do need the water supply. Every village I've been to, they have indicated to me water, and supplies for the babies and infants.
So baby supplies, so water, tarpaulins,
Yeah.
baby supplies are in greatest need.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Have some of the relief supplies started to reach some of the most affected persons yet?
We did not today, so we did not from today.
Excellent. And in terms of the areas, Prime Minister, that you will be kind of, making priority? I mean, as you said, all the country was significantly devastated, but in terms of the areas that you're going first with the relief supplies?
The entire east of Dominica, the south, the extreme south, because this area is completely cut off, and the south, it has always been a challenged community. The inner communities, Campbell, Bells, which is in the rainforest area, a very disaster-prone community. Mount Prosper and Loda in the valley. The Canalago territory, where the indigenous people reside. We need to get supplies in there, into Good Hope and Petit Soufrière, because those communities are cut off in terms of road traffic. We're going to have a particular challenge in Petit Soufrière because there are no landing pads, so we may have to just drop off the supplies to them. Or we're also trying to get boats into there, but the seas have been rough, so that has compromised our ability to get in there. So the logistics of getting the supplies there is going to be critical.
Yes, yes.
So we have the various international regional teams on island. They have been made part of the emergency operations, and they're assisting in putting logistics in place to get things going. So I authorized and approved the strategy last night, and they're now effecting it today.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's excellent, Prime Minister, that the region has so far rallied to Dominica's support, and Prime Minister Gaston Brown here in Antigua and Barbuda has given his full commitment that the Antigua and Barbuda, the government and the people here will give you our full support.
Sure. I wasn't actually in touch with Prime Minister Brown while my roof was going. We still had cell connection.
Okay.
So I was, in fact, telling him what was happening while it was happening.
Yes.
But the world, everybody has been very supportive. We're very appreciative of that. Dominica is going to need all of the help the world can offer. As small as it is or as large as it is, we'll welcome the help for the people.
Brilliant. And certainly the Prime Minister, the world has responded. In times like these, when the worst of nature has reared its head, the best of humanity has also balanced out. Talk to me, Prime Minister, about the impact that this would have had on the recovery after Tropical Storm Erica in 2015, because the country was essentially just still in the recovery phase following Erica. So how far has this put you back now?
Put us back quite a bit because we still have Erica to deal with. And on top of Erica, we have Hurricane Maria. With Erica, we had to relocate several villages. We have built many homes to replace them. We were doing a major housing project with 341 homes with all of the infrastructure, health clinics, and all of the amenities. And with Hurricane Maria, we also have to take critical decisions in relocating many communities in Dominica. So there'll be quite a number of villages that will have to be abandoned and have the people completely relocated. Homes will have to be built for them, and try to restore their lives and their livelihoods as quickly as possible.
Yes. Prime Minister, a lot of residents of Dominica who are living here, for example, in Antigua and Barbuda, the rest of the region, they're very desperate to reach their relatives, want to know the welfare of their relatives. What is being put in place, given that communication has taken a major blow? What is going to be put in place in the short term to try to boost the communication services there?
Well, we have Digicel has flown in people. They came in yesterday to assist with restoring. Also, Flow has been working to extend the coverage. We're hoping that we can get some internet service moving so we can have a point of contact. There are no landlines functioning in the country, so that's a challenge. We have very limited cell coverage, mainly in the city. Might go a few miles off. So both telecommunications providers are working feverishly to restore us, as much as possible of the telecommunication services. And we will be setting up our missions in London and New York and Washington to assist with providing information to citizens out of our region who are seeking information about their relatives and friends. My advice to many of the citizens who have concern is that we need to manage our anxiety. So always try to think that they're alive rather than they're dead. And many people have WhatsApped me and I've been able to tell them, okay, well, I met your sister, I met your mom, she said she's fine and so forth.
Very good.
So I once you tell me the name, and when I get in there, I'll ask about the person and I'll say, well, the person is fine and so forth.
Very good.
So we are in touch with people, and in terms of fatalities, I would advise them to remain calm and think on the positive side with regards to that.
Excellent, excellent. And you've been able to try to ease some of the concerns, Prime Minister. That's communication services. What about water and electricity?
Yeah, the water company is, we're hoping that we can turn on, because what we did before the hurricane was to shut off a lot of the water systems to secure that which is the water in the tanks. So we have water in the tanks that we secure. We're now checking to see the water connections. So if the connections are fine from the storage facilities to the connecting pipes, then we can turn on the water supply for the city and the greater Roseau area. That will cover about a quarter of the country in terms of the supply of water for the Roseau area, Castle Comfort and Mount Daniel and Wall House and so forth,
Yes.
and the entire city. So they were doing that yesterday and today. I mean, I went to my own village yesterday, and the villagers themselves were seeking to reconnect the water. There were pipes broken, and they went up to the mountains, reconnecting the pipes to restore water. So even in the absence of very robust state apparatus or something, people are getting
Community spirit is kicking in, Prime Minister,
people are moving and so
and helping themselves.
That's right.
Yes. So I'm sure you're very heartened by that, because as we said, worst of nature met by the best of humanity.
Yeah, I mean, we meet people on the streets and you tell them, look, get going, you know, just put the galvanized on the side of the road, the boards, and we'll take them later on. Let us create access and so forth, you know, and focus on making life better for all of us. You know, if we're engaging ourselves in things that are not the right things, then we'll make it much more difficult for all of us and so on.
Yes.
But there's a growing sense, and I think once most of us would have known that our relatives are fine, then we get into the groove of really helping the communities and so on.
Yes. And Prime Minister, in terms of the message, you touched on it a while ago, but the message to Dominicans who obviously are naturally resilient, so helping themselves and so on, and picking themselves up from this disaster. What would you say to your citizens at this point?
It's going to be a very long and difficult journey. But I am confident that if we remain united as a people, we can bounce back. It will take us some time. As for myself, I am completely committed to the country and doing what I can to assist with the raising the necessary financing and making contact. I had originally no intention of going to the United Nations, but I have decided to go, so I'll be traveling to New York tomorrow to address the United Nations General Assembly, to speak to the international community, to have meetings with the UN Secretary General, to outline Dominica's situation and how we believe the international community could assist us. So we will not leave any stone unturned. We all have to play our part as Dominicans, irrespective of who we are. There cannot be no differences whatsoever. We have all been impacted, and we can only make life better for ourselves if we work together.
What do you think this disaster, Prime Minister, has taught the world? If the world were to learn a lesson from what has happened in Dominica, what do you think that lesson would be?
Well, unfortunately, you know, we have to wait for Irma and Maria to let the world understand what we've been saying to them for a long time, that we're very vulnerable. We're exposed to the ravages of climate change, and we need access to resources to build more resilient societies and countries. We have been playing our part, but the extent of the resources required to put in the mitigation systems is beyond us. If you look at a country like Antigua and Barbuda, it is very difficult for it to raise money in the international community because of its per capita and its GDP.
Yes.
You know, which is unfortunate that you're being punished for making progress. And so, like ourselves, you know, the government of Antigua has a huge task if its efforts to rebuild Barbuda. So we're hoping that we can, and the intention was to also join forces, given Antigua a firm commitment to travel with Antigua, to speak to the international community of the need that Barbuda has in resettling the people. I will continue to join. We will certainly be even stronger with our bonds of commitment to going out there and to speaking on behalf of each other and the region for the resources that we need to rebuild our countries. And I am very comforted by the fact that there is a greater sense of unity among the leadership in the Caribbean, unity in purpose. And I think with that unity and that commitment, I'm very comforted. The prospects could be much better.
Yes, and by the way, Prime Minister, this morning at the post-cabinet media briefing, the government of Antigua and Barbuda indicated that it would be making a $300,000 donation to the relief effort in Dominica.
Yeah, thank you very much to Antigua and Barbuda. I mean, I know you have your own challenges. We do not expect that level of assistance because of your prevalent challenges. But it speaks to the profoundness of the bonds of friendship. I would say not more friendship, but family, which exists between Antigua and Dominica.
Yes.
We've had a very long tradition of family ties and solidarity, and the Prime Minister Gaston Brown had been providing that level of leadership.
Brilliant. A penultimate question, Prime Minister, because I know that you're an extraordinarily busy man. I mean, you still have more villages to look at. You're going back to Dominica later today, right?
Yes. Yes,
and you have more areas to survey the damage there. And frighteningly, dreadfully, there might be more deaths that you're going to come upon. What would be your message to Dominicans abroad or watching this broadcast here in Antigua, Barbuda, the rest of the Caribbean, the rest of the world? What would you say to them?
I think we have to join forces to do what we can to mobilize support to the family and friends back in Dominica. As I said, it's going to require the support of every single one of us, individuals, countries, institutions, organizations. But I believe the Dominica diaspora has a very important role to play in mobilizing material and other resources to help the country. If there ever has been a time when Dominica needs its people the most, it is now. And I think there is a commitment on the part of the Dominican diaspora to mobilize. They did so very, very well after Erica, and I see them even quadrupling their efforts to assist the homeland.
Yes. Prime Minister, this broadcast is being followed by millions around the region, in Latin America, in North America, all over the world. What would you say to persons here on this Thursday, how they can assist immediately Dominica?
Well, we have a list of a number of things, a number of supplies, and we will give you a copy so you can post it also.
Yes.
But I've been provided for a list, as I said, with food, water, roofing materials, lumber, plywood, windows, doors, nails, communication equipment, tarps and plastic sheeting, hygiene kits and comfort kits, medical supplies, baby supplies, including formula, baby food, wipes, diapers, adult pampers, solar lanterns, generators from 5 kVA to 10 kVA and even beyond that. Collapsible water containers, the 1 gallon, so that we can pass on to the communities.
Yes.
Flashlights, batteries, portable stoves, mattresses, cots, energy biscuits, water purification kits and tablets. So the wide range of things that we can provide. If we get the building material, people are prepared to hit the road running, to recover their homes and to have less people homeless in the country.
Yes. Prime Minister, I know that the world has heard, the world has responded, and the world will continue to respond. And I am absolutely confident that your country will rise stronger like the phoenix from the ashes.
Sure. Just to tell you how serious the situation is, and I joke with my people.
Yes.
When they meet me on the streets and they say, Prime Minister, my house is gone, I'm homeless. I said to you, darling, I am also homeless as the Prime Minister of the country.
Yes.
So it is, I really thank all of you and thank the world. We look forward to your continued solidarity. I am here to speak on behalf of the 72,000 people who call Dominica their home permanently, to say to you that every one of us needs you now, and in whatever way you can.
Yes, the hospital, Prime Minister, I have to mention this, no electricity there, no generator.
No.
Is that your biggest immediate concern?
Yeah, because we've had to isolate the generator for fear of anybody getting injured or fatalities. But the hospital, we're running the hospital now worse than in the military, in a war zone. We're running really an archaic system. Everything has to be manual. We cannot, the dialysis system machines are down because of the roofs blown off and no electricity. any patient with who need critical care, we have to airlift the person because the ICU has been completely destroyed by the hurricane. So that's one of our major concerns there, and if we can get help for this, the Martinican authorities are indicated are prepared to assist us in airlifting some of the patients to Martinique. Any other country who can assist with that would certainly be helpful. Because we have quite a number of patients who require dialysis treatment, and some of them, the last treatment they got was on Monday before the hurricane, because what we tried to do was to provide them with as much, before the hurricane,
yes,
so that
it would last them during the time.
Yeah,
right.
but it's been some days now, and they have not dialyzed. I mean, one patient who has to receive dialysis every day, dialysis treatment every day, he walked from Portsmouth in the north to Roosevelt.
That's how many miles?
That's over 21 miles.
Wow.
And I met him at the hospital, and he says, "Look, I came from Portsmouth because I'm desperately in need of help." There's one patient in Dubla. The family told me that if he doesn't get airlifted, he will expire.
Wow.
So in terms of these critical patients, it is absolutely urgent that we get them out.
Especially, that's why you need helicopter services.
That's right.
All the helicopters that are available.
That's right.
Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I know that the world will rally to the cause of helping Dominica to rise again.
Sure. Thank you. I am very optimistic on that. Thank you.
This has been a ABS online presentation. You would have heard the very, very visceral reaction, the moving reaction of Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skeritt, after having seen for himself the devastation, or at least part of it, that has been wrought on his country by this monstrous menace called Maria. He has seen it and is asking for the world's assistance to ensure that Dominica will rise again. He's already said that the spirit of his people is strong, and the community spirit has already started to show in relation to Dominicans who are trying to help themselves, restore their own water supplies and so on. Obviously, therefore, they will need any help they can get. We know that the best of humanity will arise when the worst of nature has shown itself. And Maria was for Dominica the worst of nature. Thank you so much for watching on TV and online. Thank you so much for listening on radio, wherever in the world you are. But of course, we leave you with this note that Dominica needs you at this point. I'm Garfield Burford. Good afternoon.
You are in tune with the nation's stations, ABS TV Channel 10, the GIS, and ABS Radio 90.5 FM. Proudly serving you, reaching more and more people every day.